Hey everybody, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is the high probability watch list for the week of, let me get the dates up here. We have on a Friday. Paul's doing a great show. It is the 16th. This watch list is going out for the 19th to the 23rd. 19th to the 23rd. The first stock that you're looking at here is Boston Scientific. It's a new one added to the HPS watch list, and the HPS watch list is something we haven't been too active in recently because of the market conditions. These are usually swing trades, but added about 4 last week. I'm adding another one this week, plus probably a couple more that we're going to go over, and we've got a lot of things to talk about today. First thing, this is Friday. It is the 16th of September, and we are closing out our lifetime sale tonight, Friday. All right, so it's important if you do get this to contact me or Paul, RPM at DayTradingRadio.com, or myself, DTRS at DayTradingRadio.com, to let us know you're interested, because the prices are going to change this weekend and they're going to go back up. And we're also going to be doing a lot of new things. So take advantage of the opportunity. This is going to be the lowest price opportunity. You get everything included: the Day Trading Radio, the HPS watch list, the tradeometer, the Rockbot, oh man, it's just so much. The codes, the school of stock courses, everything to get you set up. You don't have to worry about anything going forward. Our dashboard loaded with features, news, the tick strike market pressure guide, the forums, the chat rooms, everything. So take advantage of that. This weekend's the last weekend, and we're probably not going to see that. Definitely not going to see price again. I actually can guarantee, because we have some new things that are coming out, and this is one way of actually locking yourself and getting that. So I can't stress it enough. So let's move on. Futures are, and again, you know what? Let me just go over to the dashboard fast here. Paul's on doing a show right now, and they're doing a sing-along he's talking Bitcoin and stuff right now. What else do we have on there? The Rockbot, the tradeometer, the HPS setups, the school of stock, all these extra features. DTR2, which I'm on now, which has the Rockbot channel on it. And don't forget the great chat room here. We have a click on that chat room up on the top here, top of your dashboard, right here. If you click on that, that'll pop up on your screen, and you put in your username and password, and then the chat room will pop up, and you'll see all our great traders in there conversing and trading together. We have hundreds of traders every day trading with us. So that's just connecting right now, and then you're going to see it pop up here. There's a lot of things going on here. DTR members here. Market here kind of pulling back today. Anyway, we're not going to waste any more time on that. We see some markets actually starting to dip back down. Going forward, we're still in this environment where the inflation is the topic of conversation, and what the Fed's going to do about it, and how close are we to the end of the hiking cycle. And we're close. We're closer than we were. Makes sense, right? Everything's closer than we were. But how close are we? We have a couple things. We have the meeting next week, the Fed meeting next week, which will probably get a 75 basis point hike. And then we're coming into midterm elections, which is something that a lot of people are looking for this market to pop into. And also we have a very good time of the year for the markets heading in after October into November and December. A very good time in there. So a lot of things here with the opportunity on the pullback. We're going to get some new HPSs up there. We're going to, but I'm really concentrating on the futures. I think that's one absolutely beautiful way of making money each and every day, and not have to worry about what the market is doing. All right.
High tick alert.
So we just had a high tick alert, and that's from the tradeometer. I did mention that on the. Let's take a look at the tradeometer here. So the tradeometer here with a high tick alert, which I just raised up to about 800. So 800 is the
order submitted.
the alert.
Order filled.
And we
order
just had
submitted. Order submitted. Order
a rock
submitted.
bot signal too. A rock bot signal and a tradeometer signal. It's usually a good sign for both of those. Let me try to get some charts up here. Now this is not a real divergence. It's well, it is.
Order
It's 1 minute
submitted.
divergence right
Order
here with this
filled.
candle, and with the tradeometer also going off and the divergence, we look for a kind of a little break higher. Let's see if we get the profits on that. And the rock bot's on the rock bot channel automatically has the parameter set in. It's not. It's just identifying the divergence.
Order filled.
And when you get that divergence, it's very important to take those profits when you get that pop. So you already took, you heard it say order filled over there because that's the divergence. What's great about the bot, if you do get it and run it, it gets you into positions
Order
real fast.
filled.
And then you just
Order
have to
submitted.
basically
Order
just take
filled.
profits. All right, that's basically what you know. That's what I've been doing here. You know, getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out. Not have to worry about anything. Just waiting for the alerts to come across. This is the Rockbot channel right here, and you can actually see
took alert.
right there, and it's following. Wow, look at that. Could have kept it on. It's look at that thing rip. You get this, people. You get this with your membership. Now we're moving some things here. We had this kind of a different option
Order
between
filled.
having just a basic and then having the futures. You can't the price on the bots for the monthly subscription is $69.95, but until tonight it's $49. So you can actually get that $49 price instead of paying $69 a month if you want to take that monthly thing. After tonight it's going up to $69. That means you get the Rockbot channel, the tradeometer, and everything else monthly for $69 instead of $49. After well, $49 instead of $69. After tonight it's back up to $69, and there won't be any other options. So it's a different way of approaching it if you don't have the funds for the lifetime. And then if you have the funds and want to split it in half, you also have to let us know. You have to let us know tonight that you're going to make 2 different payments. You have to contact Paul, RPM. He can set it up in the billing system, and we'll take it from there. All right. So that happened to be live right there. So you got a nice little live trade. I showed you the Rockbot taking the trade. Whew. And that's what we want to do going forward. We want to do that going forward. We got to be very strict in our discipline, very patient, letting these setups come back. The rule that I really want to hammer in this today is try not to chase the market. I know that you feel like you're sometimes missing out or the market's running away from you and you have to get in. The odds are when you see the market, it goes up, it pulls back, it goes up, it pulls back, and when you get these consolidations, sometimes it pops and then pulls back. Concentrate on understanding your position or what you think the market's going to do, but take it on your terms. And what I mean by that is if you feel the market's going up, at least wait for that rotation on the 9-3 on the 1 minute time to be oversold. Don't chase it up here when it's getting overbought, because the odds are it's going to rotate back down. That is the key to making money in the markets. All right. That's just a basic rule that's going to save you a lot of heartache going forward. All right, we're also going to do a market radar, which I always add to the HPS watch list. The market radar is basically the outlook, the weather forecast for next week or the week ahead of us, and taking a look at the recent pivot, that nice little rally, and then we had the CPI coming in, and we really took down the market, and everyone had started ratcheting down their guesstimates and looking for maybe 3,400 down to 3,700. We're still at 3,800. There is a lot of downside, targets that are being called here, and there's a gap here that goes back on to the 14th of July, and that gap high is 37.96. That's what I have right here. This blue line represents this gap close. Gap close on the index. 37. Let's give you an exact number again here, just to double check here. 96. 37.96. I have it at 98, but it's give or take a point or two. Now, we're not there 100% yet, and we were kind of looking to see if we could actually take out these lows, break through this trend line, and maybe put in the divergence. The one thing we have positive setting up into next week is we have the daily oversold, and we have the hourly oversold. And whenever we got a daily, hourly, multiple time frame, we tend to get a bigger move off of that. Now, the weekly, very weak. The weekly happened to be not looking too good. It's aggressively heading down. Again, we have some targets below us. If we actually got down to the 200 again, do we get down to lower trend lines? Do we put in divergences on the weekly? We want to have these big things setting up. But right now, it's easy enough just to wait for that setup. All right, I know people get frustrated in this market environment, and you just feel like you have to be taking a shot at every second. But no, the key to making money right now is letting the setups come to you, even if they're small setups, even if they're downside setups. I mean, there is a couple short side there was a short side divergence here, the high and a higher high, and you have to take those. And that dotted line here, the 80 line here, that is important. Now we have some other lines here on that. Don't worry, the 80, 50. 20 line. 80 and 20 are the important ones. All right, so there was a little divergence back here, right here.
Market on close in balance, $2.2 billion.
And it had a nice little pullback. And again, you have to take that rotation and get out on the rotation down and take whatever you can get. It's like walking down the street and finding $20 bills here and there. That's what I call it, the $20 trade. And multiply those by contracts. Once you get familiar, you have a really good setup. Here's another one. This high and this high. It's a double top high. A little lower on the stochastics, but a lot lower on the 14.3. So that's actually a really good divergence there. The 14.3 is a stronger time frame than the 9.3. Typically, they both show up. But when the 14.3 shows up better than the 9, it's almost like an inverse, a little signal there. It's just... Normally we have the 9.3 giving us the signal, the 14.3 sometimes doesn't. But if we get a good signal on the 14.3 and we don't have it on the 9.3, that's actually a very bullish scenario. That 14.3 is very strong, especially if you drop off here. Now with that candle, looking back, yeah, it did pull back. Everything's pointed down. Wait for this rotation. There's a setup that we like. It's called a quad rotation. Wait for that stochastics to get oversold and get us all the way down to 20. And then we start, then you have the bigger time frame. So right now, any bounces you're looking at are short-term bounces, anything like that. The bigger trend is down. You have a series of lower lows. And that's what we're waiting on right now. So let's go back to the market radar. We have the gap in front of us. And earlier this week on a video, I said that I would extremely change my tone if we could get back above the 29.84, we'll call it 29.85 level, halfway into that big CPI candle that took us down. Even lots of times we like to defeat this major pivot up there. Well, that would be unbelievable, but we don't want to give up.
Order submitted. Order filled.
We're starting to look a little bit better down here.
Submitted.
Now, what do I have here? We have another divergence here. And the time frame is 3:30. It's in the no trade zone.
Order filled.
Oh, there it is again. And what can I say?
Order filled.
I mean, what can I say? The market here the divergence just kicks ass. Excuse the language. Just kicked it again, and that happened. And you could run this on your platform. You have
Order
to use
filled.
But I wouldn't manage it. Understand that you have to manage things like that. So that's just taken away there. That's just automatically updates it. It's running 24/7. Let's go back to the setup here. And again, we don't want to get involved too much.
LED, red line
in front of this, if we do head down lower, it's probably going to drag down a lot of different stocks. But there is some stocks here that we're going to start to take a look at. All right, so we have the 60-minute setup. We have the daily setup. We have the 15-minute is kind of a little, not really set up. 5 minutes slowly heading back down. We're actually on the 20-period moving average right now. Watch that too, but I'm not interested. The other rule we use is we watch that 2 o'clock low. If we close near the lows at 2 o'clock, we tend to close on the lows at 4 o'clock. Now we did have a little rally at 2 o'clock, got us up here. We're starting to pull back. It's 3:30. It's a Friday. Not going to be a hero here and make any type of call. I'm just going to wait for the divergence to set up. So a couple of stocks that I am liking going into next week. All right, a couple of stocks that we like going into next week because we're not going to really. I'm looking for relative strength, and I've been seeing relative strength in the Biogen here the last couple of days. Biogen has been holding up okay. The market's been selling off. It's been holding this 205, 204 area. The 220 level up above us is kind of a nice base for a breakout. And I think we're going to eventually get there. So it's kind of a pretty decent day today, even though the market is down 38, 40 points. We liked it off of this. Remember, whenever we put an orange circle in there, we tend to mark that zone because there's something about it we like. Sometimes I'll put notes with it too. But this is actually holding up pretty good. So take a look at the 5-minute chart. It just had a little pop. And that's, you can see, sideways consolidation, pretty good strength. We have LVS, Las Vegas Sands. That's been acting good. Also pushing up against that 38.9, 30, this base here, and not really selling off. So a couple of these are not selling off. These are on the HPS watch list. Not selling off. This had a nice pop yesterday. Decided to hold on to it another day. I wanted to see if we get some breakout follow through, which we didn't. There's a couple interesting ones that you have to start to look at down here. Apple under 150. And no position on that right now. Google under 100. There's a big support level here. If we kind of capitulate, maybe put a reversal in off of that, that might be an interesting level. That had a recent 20-for-1 split. Now it's trading down at that big $100 mark. $100, probably a good level. A lot of people expect, think that this is one of the more value play now instead of even a tech play, but we shall see. It is going into its 5th day after a gap down. Typically, we look for a 5 to 7 day reversal on anything that kind of gaps down like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're into that 4th day. So next week we expect some kind of bounce. I wouldn't mind it taking out 100, just kind of flush those areas. Just going back here and looking at some of the trades today now, I was just doing the research, doing a lot of charting, and then if I do happen to catch a good rotation, which I'm trying to do, I'll jump in and get out. So we had a nice little divergence back here. This was what we call kind of a bull flag. At 3 o'clock, there was a nice consolidation. It held above the 20, and so we took that on the rotation. And then back here, we actually had a full rotation here with the nice upside. And then right here, you can see that the 5-minute is slowly moving up. And that's important. It's important that you be on the right side of the overall trend. And this is starting to turn up just a little. That tells me, hey, there's a shot here. I mean, it's the last 15 minutes, but there is a little shot for a little more upside. I'm not going to probably take this unless we have what we call a 3 or 4 3-star divergence. or a 2-star divergence, or something a little bit better. It's going to be a little choppy here, so I'm going to step down and step away from that trade and just kind of go on doing the research. Biogen here on the bottom, though, is starting to move. I think that gets to 220 pretty fast. Yeah.
Tradometer YM overbought.
I'm going back and just scrolling back through some of the setups today. And whenever you see a stock come up against the 200 period moving average multiple times, if you get a hit by here and you see a lower stochastic rotation happening, usually that's going to fail. We've watched this so many times. I've watched that 200, especially. This is kind of an overnight trade here that's been holding the 200 period moving average. And even though it is, probably not the best example because it's not during the day, I do like to show you what happens when you test something multiple times. You're kind of making that higher high, but you're making lower highs on the stochastic rotation, and that kind of just dropped this right off. All right. Go ahead and just review what we have active on the HPS watch list. The HPS watch list, again, on your dashboard, if you're not familiar with it, it's the top part of your dashboard. Just click on the HPS watch list. This will pop up, and these are all programmed to trigger real time and send you alerts when our targets hit, or buy entry hits, or short entries, stops, profits, etc. Everything here. So I just added Boston Scientific to the list. So we're gonna start off. Just kind of go over some of these. Oops, I don't see that chart up there. I just updated it, so I might have to fix that here. It's just a second. I'm going to give you a much better chart on this, but this is a long-term chart, and you can see the area up here that we're focused on, and we're getting back up there. So we're looking for maybe a possible pullback. And I don't even know if we're going to get that pullback, but I wanted to, at least be alerted to it if we get down into our zone and we kind of close that gap. I have a feeling that we're closer to taking out this and making a big 10-point run here. Once we break out of that major support resistance here, we're going to get a 10-point run off of that 45, easy into the 50s. And but right now it's currently active. If we do get a pullback, we will be in it. If it actually starts to buck the other way against, and show some relative strength, it might also get in it also. I think this is a great setup going forward. Quality stock. Let's take a look at it on a different chart altogether. We're going to be looking at Boeing here next. So let's take a look at BSX. Oops. A little different. You can see the upward trend, the pullback, the breakout. Now the first pullback from the breakout, pulling back to the 200. There is this rising channel I put on the other chart. If it does break down through that, we're going to get a trigger into it down below us, but we're right on it right now. Like I said, this actually might hold up. This might actually be a great entry, but I'll keep you updated on that. Of course, if I get in, you're going to get the alert first. So we're right on a trend line. We actually bounced off it. We need to get a cross back up. We need the momentum to shift and off to the races. This could be the spot right here. If not, then our spot is a little bit underneath us. Either way, we're in good shape because, I think either way we're going to nail this stock really well. So let's go to the next one. And again, this is on the HPS site. Let me bring that up over here. I got some. All right, PVH is from our insiders last week, and we actually got that pop, and then we actually got some selling as the market sold off aggressively this week. So this is actually, we started off and, believe it or not, took half of our profits on our first pop. You can't really even Can't really even see the pop. It's right on that line. It's there. And then the market sold off. We had the CPI report. It dragged us down. And again, it's kind of falling. But you can see buying is kind of drying up. And this is, and selling drying up also. But we're kind of right back down to this low. We still have insiders back here that are, that got involved in the stock. So it's actually still looks okay. It hasn't hit its stop. I did add to it on a little pullback here. So I added to it, and they're waiting on it. So PVH, and then we had JELD. It was another insider, and I'm actually still holding this. It was a cheaper one. I have a tighter stop on that, and it got pulled back with the market quickly. Actually, let me fix that. I don't know why I did this. I labeled the stop here 1050. It's actually set at 950 in the. So I apologize. That is a 950 stop. I have it labeled as 1050. And we're right above that. I'm actually still holding this. This is the weakest of the three insider buying. That got picked up here. It's not my favorite, but I took it on some insiders here. And again, you're seeing the reaction of the overall markets pulling us down. And then we're going to go to the third one of the insiders. With PVH, we have the HBI, Hanes Brands. Hanes Brands, Hanes Underwear, Champion Sports. We got in here, it gapped up. And then it's, again, kind of pulled back also with the sell-off. We did have a pretty good sell-off. We almost got to our target on this. It popped up and followed through the next couple days. And then it's back down here. So holding above that 813 low. The market does come in here with an aggressive, some real serious selling, these could take out these lows. But remember, this is the first time in this area right here is where we had cluster buying, insider buying on this. And I went over this all last week's video, so if you need to review that, that is okay. And these are still in some interesting levels. It's just the market condition. That's why we've been kind of holding off on really pointing out really quality names for swing trades, because the market, we want to always have that market in your favor. If the market's not in your favor, you're kind of going against the tide, you're going upstream, you're doing whatever, it's just a little bit more of a difficult trade environment. So just take that in consideration. Another active one we have on our HPS watch list that I'm holding is Las Vegas Sands. And Las Vegas Sands actually popped through our buy zone yesterday as we got through it a little bit earlier, pulled back, then popped. This is actually showing relative strength. And there was some good news out of China yesterday that caused a lot of these stocks, the casino stocks, to actually pop. And today, they actually, over the last 4 days, is actually holding relative strength and doing good. So this is still active too and looking for upside. This was best bet a couple weeks ago. It still continues to be really in good shape here. Now we have some candidates that I'm probably going to put on this watch list in a couple days, if not tonight. But we're going to go over them with you on the list here. I had one up before, is Boeing. We haven't touched on Boeing in such a long time. Off the lows. This was a divergence low, and this is also just kind of keep track of the divergence lows in some of these quality names, because when we look back at charts and we see divergence lows or some of the HPS indicators lining up, those are typically going to be the bottoms. So and when up here is not the bottom. When we get a pullback like this, and guess what's happening right here? We have a trend. We have a little line here. Higher low. It's coiled up too. Coil is a series of lower highs on the stochastics as we stay within a channel, which is the underlying channel here. So this is kind of that coil. It's also divergence. Everything here looks pretty good for the first time in a long time on Boeing. Boeing had a nice move from the lows, from this nice little move up. And what I want to show you here on what I like this is I marked off the lows, I marked off the highs, and now we've pulled back. Now 74 to 13, 61, that's a 61 point move from lows to, that was a 61 point move. All right, now we pulled back to 44. So half of 61 is 30 and a half. All right, we'll call it 30. We add 30 to this low here. That'll be about that'll be 43, 44. So we're 50% into this pullback. We had a nice rally. We pulled back 50%. This is again off of a divergence. So we pulled 50% back from the divergence right back here. This is the area that you want to be in. So actually, this qualifies us really good. This is, and it's also kind of a little support line back here. You can see we held it here. We came up to it, dropped, came up to it, dropped, finally broke through it. Now we're back down to it. Now, Boeing's famous for having kind of news, order news, plane crashes, and, anything that moves Boeing, China news. So that's, investing could be a little more dangerous, but this is a great level right here. It deserves to be on the HPS watch list. It deserves to probably, start concentrating on this zone, especially going into next week. So watch it, 142. I think I'll probably end up putting it on the watch list. I like it that much on Boeing here. So we will put this BA. I will put it on the watch list for this week. And again, when we put a target on or a buy signal, what we want to do is we have a lot of things going for us here. We have a divergence, we have a coil. What we don't have is a higher low. We did have one here, and then we broke down. I do really consider this to be a nice divergence if we could actually get back and confirm above this higher low. So this high here is 150.15. So 150.15. It's at 144 right now. It's given up 6 points about. So maybe we if we get any type of gap down on Monday, maybe start to scale in, and then you start scaling in down here. And what we're going to do is we're going to double down when you do get it, when it does reverse and gets through that 150 and change, that candlestick. That's where you want to just kind of go into your, what I like to call it is just percentage add into your position. I'd like to get into a 1/4% or a third of my position, maybe add to it, and then when we get to a technical breakout level, I'll double down or go in the other half. So it's great down here, cost average in down here, get in and kind of add down here. Once you start to break this and it starts to move back up, everything is going to look pretty good. I don't know if they're going to have any significant news, but there's also a large channel here. Let's see if we can actually identify this. But risk reward, pullback, 50% pullback off of a divergence bottom here. I think you're set up here. You're set up perfect. You're set up perfect. So Boeing here definitely on the list for next week. Really love it. BA, mark it down. Get ready for it. It looks good. Well, I went ahead and did the chart, put it on the HPS watch list coming off that. So let's take a look here. Yeah, there it is. So that's kind of that 50% pullback right here. Here's a stop down here. The 50% pullback we're pulling into. Even if we pull back a little, just take in consideration this is a scale-in area. But this already looks like we're in the right area right here. We're in the lower part of this channel. If we take a look at the other charts, I actually have all that stuff. This downward channel. So we're right at the lower part of this channel. We're right on the support line. Everything, and we're in the divergence. Everything looks good here. So I have to get it on the list for next week. So that adds another one to the HPS watch list. Now, these are good, hold, long-term quality names. Unless the bottom falls out of the market, we get some serious selling. Everything's going to get dragged down. But technically speaking, if we are looking at some good technical level, especially the divergence, this is starting to look really good. So I definitely want to say scale in, feel it out next week. We'll feel out the, we do have some reports coming out. We do have the Fed meeting, but overall, this looks great. Any more weakness, I'm going to start scaling in, starting to build a position in Boeing. Options will probably be a good one also. I'll take a look at those. We'll take a look right now. If we're looking at maybe let's just take a look at the 150s going out. to 21 days. Just do calls only. Alright, that's not bad. All right, we're talking about $3.70, about $4. The 150s, and you definitely want to take advantage on any type of weakness. You want to jump into on these on like a gap down would be.
Order submitted.
There's
Order canceled. Order canceled. Order canceled. Order filled.
That is the Rockbot taking profits here. That's actually the Rockbot is trading the Bitcoin right now. Again, for those Bitcoin traders out there, you could easily... Ooh, I lost that chart there for a second. Hold on. Let's bring it up here. All right, so actually 8 o'clock is the session close for Bitcoin before they switch over. It doesn't really close, but that's when they switch over. So it actually just took it actually took it off there. That's session close right at 19,800. All right, so that's what that was. I was wondering. I said, why did it take it off? It looks like it shouldn't take it off unless it's pulling back and hitting the stop, but it just happened to be a timing thing on the time. And you could adjust that on your own platforms too. All right, back here we do. Yeah, so I'm looking at those 150s going out a bit. All right, that looks really good. I'd love to get a gap down. Love to take advantage of any type of selling early next week. Just some other observations as Microsoft here comes back down to the lows. And, you know, mentioned that Google is also at the lows, Microsoft at the lows, Apple here breaking through some important levels, that 150 level. So we just gonna keep track of that. Let's go back into Microsoft, and then we'll go down from there. I'm doing just finishing up my scans here. Taking advantage of anything here. Corning also pulling back a lot. But the key is going to be, you know, taking advantage of that gap down, seeing how the Fed meeting comes out next week. Concentrate on the short-term scalps with the futures. Got some new HPS setups out there. And don't forget, the sale goes on until midnight tonight. Take advantage of that. Contact me or Paul if you need an extra day or two, or you need some kind of arrangement. IronAction@yahoo.com or RPM@DayTradingRadio.com. Very important to get in touch with us on the. I'm going to be switching over the prices and stuff, and it just saves a lot of problems. All right, so that's it. I want to do a little bit more research, but I'm going to send this out to get it out to everyone. We have a lot of good setups for next week, and I'm looking forward to it for Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see you Monday morning. Pre-market, 7:30 is when we get started. Have a great evening, and have a great weekend.